factory of football players, let me tell you, coming out of Aberdeen. My mom was a high school principal. My dad was initially a high school coach and then moved up to the Division II college there. And my childhood, as long as I can remember, was, going to sporting events. It could be the high school, it could be the college. With my dad, I remember driving to training camp 2 days, maybe 3 days at that time in college football, and being there at 5:30, 5:45 in the morning, and mixing some Tang up for the guys in the morning as they came in, probably eating donuts. Not sure that's on our menu in the mornings, but hanging around the guys, sitting in meetings. My dad was a defense coordinator, sitting in linebacker and DB meetings, being out on the practice field with them, and some buddies would come over, would be out at practice, hanging out. Spent time in the equipment room, changing face masks, cleats, the old screw-in cleats at that time, and my life centered around ball. Had a lot of family that was close by, and so a lot of time spent with family too.
Are there times where you smell a smell and it takes you back to doing those things? Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's sometimes you just smell something, or you hear a noise and it just reminds you, triggers back. First
day of training camp, cut grass, a little bit of dew on the ground. That takes me right back to my childhood for sure. And I just think about the memories that I have growing up. Being around our family. After his games or after my games too, a lot of family would be in town, and he just takes you back. And then at the same time, with where I'm at now, incorporating our family, my kids out on the practice field a bunch with me, and in the meeting rooms at times. And my dad's still around, retired now, and so I get a chance to spend a lot of time with him out on the practice field or around our facility.
I know he's around enough to it's a nice, as you told me back in the preseason, it's a nice set of eyes, and realistically an unbiased set of eyes, because he doesn't have a tie to wins or losses. I always want you to win, but at the same time, I think it's nice to kind of have that feedback of okay, he's not vested in this kid. He's just telling you what he sees.
Yeah, for me, you get into the middle of practice and you're in the nuts and bolts of it. At times, he can sit back and just kind of see a 360-degree view of everything that's going on, from equipment things to, coaching staff, or, maybe notice some things with the player's body language, whatever it might be. He doesn't get in the X's and O's very often, but for me, it's an unbiased opinion. I know I'm going to get it straight from what he sees to coming to me, and I appreciate that too. And again, for me, those are awesome moments.
If you've not seen Coach Heupel's dad, he's Coach Heupel with white hair and sometimes a mustache.
Not sometimes. He's always got the mustache, a little thicker at times.
I think it's sometimes he's shaved it, it's growing back in. When you go back to when you were, a ball boy and you were helping do all those things, at what point did you go, man, I just really want to play football? Is there a moment in time where you just knew that you wanted to play football, and specifically quarterback?
I love basketball. I got to throw that out there. That's what
you keep telling me you're the best shot on campus.
You need to come over and check it out. For me, I grew up, sports was everything in our family. And for me, I love playing, love competing, love doing and being in the middle of it. When I grew up, there wasn't Little League football, so you couldn't play tackle football until 7th grade. So I played flag football 5th and 6th, tackle football in 7th grade, playing all those sports, baseball too, up until high school. I just loved whatever I was in whatever season it was, that's what I thought I wanted to be. After my sophomore year, played a bunch, started at quarterback, was six-man in basketball. Were successful on the basketball side. I really enjoyed and grabbed onto the opportunity that a quarterback has to impact the game, the natural leadership position that you're in. I love the X's and O's of it, and that's when I kind of detoured towards football.
Yeah, when you played, not to date you. You had in basketball. In basketball, you might have been in that transition from the real short shorts to the big baggy shorts that was in the early 90s.
Oh, we got the baggy shorts. There's no doubt. I can't believe it's trending back the other way at this point.
And then in football, you had those big oversized jerseys, the big shoulder pads. Today everything's so form fitted. The quarterbacks in the NFL look like they're not even wearing pads at times.
Yeah, the weight of the equipment. I don't know how much faster I would have been. You know what I mean? I would have been able to shake some people down. No, it was just a lot of fun growing up in that era.
What was it like playing high school football in small town South Dakota. Because I mean, I can just imagine, like, back in the 90s, 80s, 90s, the lights at the stadiums weren't real great, so I was just very dark in the end zones, and just kind of the whole town came out, because that's what people did back then. There was no streaming of games, there was no Twitter and all this social stuff that people don't go out to now. They just kind of invested in the community stuff.
Yeah, sports in Aberdeen and in that area were a huge part of what the community did. That's the school, great student body support, but the whole community would come out and show out for those events. And Friday nights were awesome. We weren't a highly successful football program when I first got there, and we kind of built it up to being a football team that had a chance to compete for a championship. We didn't win one, but became a really good program. And then on the basketball side of it, we're a perennial power, one of the top 2-3 teams inside the state, won a bunch of conference championships, and we played JV, sophomore, varsity, and by halftime of the sophomore game, I mean, the arena was sold out. You couldn't find a seat, and growing up in that town, everybody grew up dreaming of being on that field or on that court, and a great sense of pride within our community.
Hey, thanks so much for watching the video here at Volquest on YouTube, the leading source of University of Tennessee football, basketball, and recruiting. Be sure to check out our latest video right here and our latest live show right above it. All that at Volquest.com and Volquest on YouTube.